let's take a look at our top selections for the... Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The feature race at Gulfstream Park on Saturday is the rescheduled Grade 3 Hurricane Bertie Stakes for filly and mare sprinters. Let's take a look at this field. We're going 6.5 furlongs. It was originally scheduled to be run last week. It didn't fill. It fills here, and you've got that noted win machine, the number 4 Pacific Gale, as your 2-1 morning line favorite.
Well, she got it done last time, finally, Dan, and actually ran, really well to win that Grade 2 Inside Information. I suppose if you think she's going to come back and run like that again, she's the horse to beat.
Well, let's throw up the Timeform U.S. pace projector. Pacific Gale is tactical. She will be close to the pace. Corey Gal has some speed, and I think Corey Gal is probably the most likely pace setter. But if Royal Megan catches a flyer, I think Javier Castellano will have the 2 up close as well.
That's how I looked at it, too. I'm not going to argue with Corey Gale going to the lead. She's certainly fast enough to get there, but that number 2, Royal Megan, has some pace.
Saguaro Row won her seasonal debut in the Interborough, a race we're going to see right now at Aqueduct, going 7/8 of a mile. She came from off of the pace, what's known as widest in here, and she's going to run an okay third. I don't know if I loved the Interborough as a race. I know the 5th place horse came back to earn a stakes placing with an 83 buyer, but they are really bunched up here.
Yeah, and that's a big long shot that winds up winning. It's also worth noting that the horse that finishes second, Needs Supervision, had all kinds of trouble in the race and still outfinished Saguaro. Listen, she missed a lot of time. She was, to me anyway, she was really good, I thought, in 2019. Kicked off 2020 with a win in the Interborough and then missed a lot of time after that. So, she's come back with 2 recent races. I don't think she's run particularly well in either of them, Dan, but, she did miss a lot of time. So maybe she's just working her way back into shape.
She'll be making her first start for a new trainer after selling for $500,000 at public auction in February. The number 2 is Royal Megan. This horse is on a roll right now. She seems to love Gulfstream. She's won 2 in a row, including this race against open non-winners to one other than. The Florida bred likes to be forwardly placed. She is forwardly placed in the stretch, and she wins like a 3-5 shot should.
Yeah, just an easy win here. She got a really good trip sort of early on anyway, stalking a long shot on the lead. She just took over easily. You can see there's really nobody running behind her. She has a clear lead in the stretch. She's never threatened. Sort of a similar effort 2 starts back then. She got to the front, emerged on the lead, held some challenges, and kicked clear with nobody running at her late. She'll have horses running at her late in here, I think.
Perhaps turning back to a sprint is what the doctor ordered for the 3 Reluctant Bride. Both of her victories have come sprinting. She ran last, however, all the way back in August, and she ran into a very underrated horse. I know you like that, Estilo Talentoso, who came back out of that race to be 3rd in the Wayward Lass at Tampa Bay with an 83, and then 2nd at a big price in the graded Barbara Fritchie with an 82. The layoff concerns me. To me, she's the kind of filly that needs a pace meltdown.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of trip she can get. I worry about that too, Dan. What kind of trip can she get in here if there's no pace? But it seems pretty clear she's a better sprinter than she is a router. She won as a first-time starter on the turf. She came back off of a layoff and fired fresh again last summer. So I feel like you don't really have to worry about the layoff. And she just seems like a sprinter to me who could really improve in this race. Will she do it? I don't know, but she's the longest shot on the board.
All credit to the connections of Pacific Gale for keeping the faith. She had not won a race in 2.5 years, going into the Grade 2 Inside Information. I think most of us had written her off. I thought John Velasquez gave her a great ride. He had her covered up in between horses, and he only gave her daylight once they turned for home, and Pacific Gale finishes it off the last 1/4 of a mile. This is by far the best race we've seen from her in a very long time, and I have to be honest with you. If she somehow is able to do this again, she's going to win.
No, I agree. If she runs this race back, she probably will win right back. She'll do it as the favorite this time, though, rather than paying over $30 like she did last time. I don't really have anything to say about that. She should get a good trip in here, and she's clearly the horse to beat.
I think a little bit of a sleeper is the 5 Corey Gal. I think some folks are going to say maybe she's class compromised. After all, she was claimed for $25,000 3 starts back, but her speed puts her in very good stead in this race. And her last start, the race we're going to take a look at right now, I thought it was pretty good. She's running against Sonar in here. Corey Gal, keep in mind, showed pace, but this was her first race since early October, and she's down on the inside in the black silks with the on her left lead, and Sonar just wears her down. I think Corey Gal will do better with this race under her belt.
Yeah, I think that would be the excuse you would want to give her if you want to come back to her in this race as she steps up in Class 10. Maybe she just needed the race. Boy, personally, I would be hard pressed to take her. I think maybe she really did need one off the bench, but that didn't seem like a very good loss to me. I mean, she had control of that pace. She was a very short price in there. It's been a problem for her to change leads and basically all of her races. She didn't do it again there. I wasn't thrilled with that loss last time.
And Sonar has won 2 out of her last 3 races. We saw her just get by Corey Gal in the final strides. But if you look at the loss sandwiched between the 2 wins, it came against a very good horse, Lake Avenue. And I wonder if this is stepping up in class and maybe a little bit too tough for her.
Yeah, I wonder about that too. She is lightly raced enough, though, that I feel like you could make the argument that she's still improving. Maybe she'll take another step forward in here. Man, she was the longest shot on the board last time when she beat Corey Gal, and she'll be a big price again in here.
Sound Machine is the number 7. Sound Machine finished 3rd behind Sonar and Corey Gal. It was a step in the right direction for this Safi Joseph trained filly who has run some decent races in the past. I wonder, though, if she's sort of stuck at this high 70s, low 80s buyer peak, and that might not be good enough to win.
Yeah, right. She's hard to get a read on. Boy, she was terrible, too, back when Pacific Gal beat her. She ran a little better last time, Dan, but that's just not a race that I like. That Corey Gal Sonar race, I don't like that race.
The 8 Slam Dunk was Grade 1 placed as a maiden at 2, had an abbreviated campaign last year at 3, only 2 starts, and neither one of them was very good. So it was somewhat heartening to see her win off of the long layoff in this race on February the 21st. First start for the great Shug McGahee, and we see Slam Dunk has already taken control. She has every reason to get tired. This was her first race since July 10th, but she does hold sway, and this was an okay field.
Yeah, she ran fine in here. As you mentioned, it hadn't been doing much racing. This was a long layoff to go 6.5. She took this race over very easily around the turn and, held on at the end with a new top figure. She could take a step forward in here.
Let's take a look at our top picks in this race. Hunch players are going to have a ball. You've got Sound Machine and Sonar as a natural exacta. You've got Royal Megan and Reluctant Bride. And that's where you're going to go. Reluctant Bride on top.
Dan, I just don't really want to shorter prices. I listen. I understand what you're doing here. You're just a glutton for punishment with Pacific Gal. You're going to jump back on her after she won at a big price last time. I can't do it. I know that she's the most likely winner. I'm not betting her as the favorite. I'm going to hope that Reluctant Bride fires off the layoff and takes a step forward.
The way I'm looking at it, Pacific Gal is 1 for 1. Not 1 for her last 30 or whatever she is. I think she also gets a really nice trip. I think if she sits off Corey Gal and fires what she did last time, she's going to take over in the stretch, and we'll see if she pulls a Pacific Gal. But I think she's going to be tough right back. But you're right. Maybe not a great value play at all. 3-4-1-8 for Mike. 4-5-8-1 for me. Should be fun. The Grade 3 Hurricane Bertie. Best of luck.